Hey guys, how we doing? So I decided to kind of do something a little bit different. I know I have projects that are not finished. I also know I should have plugged my glue gun in beforehand, but that's never the fun stuff, right? Doing things the way they're supposed to be done. So I have had this guy sitting out front since we bought the house. He is missing an eye. He does have a chunk missing from his nose. He's missing a paw. And he's also got a pretty good crack running down this side. Now he is just plastic. So instead of doing a crazy like bonding chemical, we're actually going to hot glue those. So my hope for that is that he will dry before I actually do want to pop this eye out, which is easier said than done apparently. Just because the remaining eye has darkened to the point that it's unrecognizable. My hope is to pop it out eventually here. Of course, my little screwdriver that I never use as anything resembling a screwdriver is still in the garage from where we worked with it this summer. But we'll fight with that later. I'll come through and with some pliers or something and pull that out. We're actually not going to be replacing the eyes today. What I plan to do is paint his eyes and then actually use either hot glue or a clear bead to give the impression of the painted eye. But for today, let's see, did we reheat enough? We're getting there, but not there yet. Come on. Oh, there we go. So all we're doing is just coming in and filling these cracks so that when I do come through and primer, he doesn't fall apart on me. And the reason I'm using hot glue on him instead of one of my multiple other options that you usually see me use is because for a good while after you put it on, it is reasonably malleable. And my hope is to actually shape his nose and foot from that hot glue. Though I am very soon going to have to figure out where in the heck I put my spare pieces here. Now this is one of the many things that I will only do while working in this little workshop of mine. Simply put, hot glue is not safe for my birds, which, if you saw my shorts, we do have a new one. We've named her Zelda. Now, we did not get her DNA sexed. We do not know 100% that it is definitely a female bird. But we do have a good idea, judging by behaviors and general attitude. If we were to have to get her sexed for any reason and found out she was a he, then we would obviously update the name a little bit. But we're not looking to breed them, so we're not super fussed about making sure we have, you know, a male and a female. She's just a very sweet bird that we happen to fall in love with. And Sunny has been flock calling quite a bit of late, which is what lonely birds do. So we knew it was about time to start the process of looking for a new bird, and she just kind of happened into our laps. Now, you've heard me say it before, and I'm going to say it again. Or, I think I've said it on here. Not 100% certain, but I always kind of tell people one big thing to keep in mind if you're considering getting an exotic pet is, can you afford it? These little buggers are expensive from the day you get them all the way through. There is a lot of very specialty upkeep you have to go through, as well as specialty vets and things of that nature that a lot of people don't realize. Not every vet is comfortable seeing animals like parrots, chinchillas, bearded dragons, even rabbits and guinea pigs and other more common exotics than what we keep. They need specialty vet care. Let's see. If I need to, I can come in with a different product to kind of solidify the shape, but I don't think I'm gonna need to. I'll let that dry for just a second so I don't burn myself. I don't necessarily feel pain on a level that a human is supposed to, and doing things like this, I have on occasion actually injured myself quite a bit worse than I would have liked to. So we're trying to be careful and not do that. It's kind of a running joke in our house. There is a lasting question of, why am I bleeding? Excuse me. So you may hear the birds a little more than normal in the background today. They are just like people. They need to take time to get to know each other. I think we need one more little pass just to round it out just that tiny little bit. They had used something to fill her up. I'm not 100% certain what that was, but it was very gross coming off. So it was not an ideal option. Okay, my dude, it looks like you got a little issue there. There we go. So the basic idea is to give him the proper profile, which I spun him a little too far. But now you can kind of see the shape is more the way it should be. Now, if you notice, I am not running for the sound of the birds hollering. My other half is in there with them. And I'm fairly certain they have woken him up by now. But none of that is panicked yelling or anything. It's just, hey, pay attention to me. So I think because this paw is so very, very broken, we are going to do a little bit of something different. Let's see. So this is just wood filler. I'm not super concerned about it staying perfect. am, however, looking for something to put it in there without having to completely get my hands covered, but I am going to unplug my hot glue gun for now. It's not the most expensive type, and it's not the fanciest, and it does like to leak, so. Now, as you can see, somebody did attempt to fill this thing at some point. I don't know why. I don't know what fueled that decision. I'm not judging or guessing or anything else. I'm also not trying to do anything like that. We're just basically giving something to form to, because I do not feel like completely filling him up with hot glue. And the wood filler actually works really well for this sort of thing. Whoops. So I'm trying not to get it all over my hands and failing miserably. This is another one of those cases where it would really be a good idea to be wearing gloves. But I am allergic to chemicals in most of those types of gloves, and I'm not messing up good gloves just to not have to wash my hands an extra time. So let's flip him back over, and now you can kind of see it gave him some shape. And also kind of came out this crack here, which a little dirt under his paws is not such a big, terrible thing. And I think what we're going to do is go ahead and fill that paw out with this, since I have it out, and since it is a more substantial job than I realized. Doing something like a nose in hot glue is one thing, even filling a crack. But if you want something to be shapeable, that's where it gets a little bit more tricky. I do kind of feel bad for my wonderful boyfriend. He is in there trying to mediate between whatever argument is going on between the pets. It also sounds like he's dealing with Loki, who wants to be the center of attention no matter what, which is really not uncommon for a dog. You can't really expect much else from them, especially very, very spoiled puppies that like mine. Now, I did consider painting this guy to look like Loki, but I don't. For one thing, I don't 100% know how to paint a brindle and make it look good. And two, I've never seen a brindle basset hound. I would love to. If you have pictures of them, please feel free to send them to me. I will never complain about that. But I've never seen one so far. So we're just going to kind of assume that that's not so much of a thing. And we'll repaint him in a style probably very similar to what he is, but maybe a little bit more detailed. So that's probably going to take a day to dry. Let me reseal this, because if you don't put the lids back on things, they dry out, and then you wasted money. And if it's been a little while since you saw my cabinet, I did actually take the time to clean it off a little bit. Just peek and make sure we're doing all right and give you guys something other than the side of his head to look at. And I did go ahead and pre-mix my um, primer so that we could get kind of two things done on this guy today. Obviously we can't primer that foot, but we can primer everything else. I just have to get my primer open. And I do apologize if I'm a little all over the place today. Anytime we bring home a new family member, there's a lot of excitement. And especially the difference that this little bird has made in our lives already. It's definitely a very, very special thing. I'm not even going to pretend like I haven't cried a time or two. And it is a mixture. There is both a sense of sadness that we had the opening in our family because, you know, the bird that we had was very, very, very much loved. And also happiness that we did have a place for this amazing little bird that it really would have broken my heart to let pass by. She just is absolutely special. And you will definitely be seeing a lot more videos of her in the near future. If you do want more pictures and things like that of myself, my pets, my family, I have gone ahead and actually made my profile on Facebook into the professional style, kind of seeing how that does. But I figure I'll keep that more personal and we'll keep this a little bit more art. Obviously, there's going to be a good overlap of both because the art and the pets are a huge chunk of who I am and what I do and what I want to do. So I'm always happy to be kind of commingling those two. There we go. Now, in the next month or so, I will say there's probably going to be some times where I am going to miss videos here and there. I do have a new grandbaby. I do have a daughter who does need help on occasion and is amazing and adult enough to be able to ask for it. When she needs that help, obviously pretty much everything else is going to go by the wayside. My grandbaby is just not quite old enough to help me out here yet, so. But if you guys help keep me going for long enough, and her mama says that it's okay, there will absolutely come a day where she will pop up in my videos. Because I just think that would be so much fun. I am absolutely over the moon, by the way. I've noticed that we've had a few more subscribers add in. I'll say it again, that's not 100% of why I do this, but that's not to say it doesn't make me feel really amazing when I log in and see that somebody has found my stuff interesting enough to subscribe. So, for those of you that just recently did, I say thank you. And another thank you for those of you that have been subscribed for a good while, and especially those who have been with me since the beginning. I am going to kind of skip around his nose as well, because I may want to sand that up a little bit and shape it just a little bit more. That's cooled enough that I can kind of set it aside. I don't like moving that when it's hot. So same as always, he is going to probably need another coat or two. I do not intend to make you guys sit through multiple videos of me primering this guy. Once the foot and nose are shaped and that last eye is popped out, I will probably let you guys see the primering process on that, and that'll be about it, because that we can probably do the same day as we start color on everything else. And my hope is that that'll be in the next day or so. I do fully intend to work on the dragon again, but between taking apart, deep cleaning, and putting back together a bird cage yesterday, a couple of hours in the car on one of those carrying a bird cage and trying to keep it steady so that the little one inside of it didn't get bumped around too hard, and the fact that it is rather gross outside at the moment. My back is killing me. I cannot be on the floor. Huh. So I may actually be looking for this guy. Online and see what he's actually supposed to look like, because he does have a maker's mark on him here. Once this dries and that's actually easier to read, we'll see what we can do with that. I can tell you he was made in 1983, which is really pretty neat when you consider I was made in 1981. So he's almost as old as I am. I don't know if we'll paint him to match the original or if we'll do something all our own, but we'll have some fun with him, and I'll see what I can find out about this neat little guy, and maybe we'll share that on the next video that we do with him. I am going to keep it natural. He will go out in my yard along with most of the other artworks I've done. He is a well-made little guy. He's just kind of been through it. And, you know, that's not uncommon for us. For those of us that have been at this whole life thing for more than 40 years. None of us feel quite as great as we did when we were young. But we'll give this guy a nice little makeover and get him feeling 100% again. Probably should have used a bigger brush for that part, but that's or a smaller brush, not bigger. But that's okay. You ever seen an all-white basset hound? Well, mostly white basset hound. We're leaving a couple of spaces here. Oh, somebody's got opinions. And I will definitely be sharing more of the pets in general with you guys as time goes by. I know you guys always seem to like it a great deal when I share videos of Loki. And the chinchillas do well. Though catching them on film without them giving me a hard time is easier said than done. They are primarily nocturnal, and I am not. So I do miss a lot of my opportunities to spend the time with them. Though I do actually, I'll get up in the middle of the night and go love on them and stuff, but two of them are actually in the room with my mother-in-law, and the last thing I want to do is make her wake up from me trying to film these little stinkers playing. So there's his first layer. He kind of looks like he's in a costume right now because it hasn't covered everything. But that's okay. We'll come through and finish up the shaping and then finish up his base coat in the next couple of days. But for now, that's the difference. He is, I think, looking quite a bit better. We definitely have a little more shaping to do on that foot, but that's not terrible. So I am going to stop here, and hopefully we'll get more done on this guy in the next couple of days. Hopefully tomorrow's nice enough that I can work on the dragon. But until then, I will talk to you guys later.